Sorry about that. The first presentation is the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, Wolf Predation Committee. So we have Andrew Myers with us.
Yeah, everybody. There we go. Great. Yep. So I'm Andrew Myers, wildlife biologist for ODFW. I work out of the Dalles, but I cover Hood River, Wasco, and Sherman counties. And I'm here today to, recommend that you guys consider establishing a wolf compensation committee. I guess just to present a little bit of information. So this program, it's a grant program that's actually run through Oregon Department of Agriculture. But where we come in is that ODFW is the people that are called out. There is some sort of kill of livestock by wolves to go out and investigate and confirm or deny that it's, or not confirm that it's wolf related. I guess the reason I'm coming up, I think I provided a map, guys, but we do have wolf activity basically starting last summer. We've had a lot more wolf activity at established pack. We're calling them Mount Hood wolves. You kind of see in the top part of the map there, and that group of wolves has spent a lot more time basically on the kind of the border between Wasco and Hood River counties, as of especially this spring. So basically, I'm trying to get ahead of things. I think the hardest thing for me to do is go out on one of these depredation investigations, have it be confirmed, and then tell somebody that there's not a way they get compensated. So that's why I'm kind of encouraging, I guess. The committees themselves, I think the reason also, it's a kind of it's run by the Oregon Department of Agriculture, so it's not something that we are in charge of, but it does require the county commissioners to set it up. They have a pretty good guidance document that I've divided as well on their website that goes through what you need to have in place. Basically, one county commissioner, 2 members who own or manage livestock, 2 members that support wolf conservation or coexistence, and then 2 county business representatives. And then basically, once this committee is formed, then the county can apply to compensate producers who have a confirmed or probable depredation in the county. So again, I know you have, maybe not a ton of livestock producers in the county, but there definitely are some that are on that border ground that I would, again, from my perspective, I always want to be able to tell people that, yeah, you have lost an animal, but you can get it compensated. So that's, I guess, why I'm encouraging. And also, I guess, with this committee or the grant program, it happens once a year that you apply, and it's in March. And I've found that it's really hard to get these committees together kind of last minute. So that's, I guess, why I'm encouraging you to think about it early. We haven't had any issues in Hood River County, but again, after it happens, it's kind of hard to scramble together 6 people or 7 people to get this committee started. So yeah, that's kind of, I guess, my presentation for you, but happy to answer any questions.
We heard quite a bit about this at the Association of Oregon Counties before the last legislative session, because they upped the compensation amount, right? So
Yes.
The state has increased the amount that's available. And listening to the people that have already been going through this, you realize, how serious it is for the people that are needing compensation. So yeah, obviously they were from east and it's moving our direction, but it's hard to believe it won't eventually happen here.
Yep. I mean, like I say, this map always gets us in trouble. It kind of shows where we know we have established groups of wolves, but they can, we should really be painting the whole state. They could go up anywhere.
They're not reading the map and staying where you need to.
I wish I could do that. Yeah, and especially if it's smaller producers too, if they lose one animal, it can mean a lot more to them than, say, a larger producer that has a ability to kind of absorb that potentially.
Yeah.
So.
Any questions?
I was just going to say, so requirements, if you also have to be filled, and with all of that,
yeah, I'm not
often filling such committees can be a challenge. So.
Sure. Yep, I've seen that. I've kind of worked with Wasco and Sherman County, and I've seen that challenge as well. That would be a better question for Department of Agriculture. I will admit I'm also new to this program. But they have a contact person for this program on their website that will walk you through things that you fill in on.
And what would be the time commitment of this committee from case up of other?
Well, I think it really depends on how much activity you have. If it's low activity, like I would suspect we'll probably have in the county, it might only be meeting once or twice a year. Realistically, they just have to meet once to be able to set up their rules, and then after that, it's to determine how much they want to apply for in compensation. I guess the other point that I didn't bring up is that it can also be used for non-lethal, so it can be pretty much anything. It can pay for producers' time to go out and check more often on their animals, to get fencing if that helps. We have some tools called box lights and flattery that can help pay for as well. So it doesn't always have to be to reimburse for an actual loss. It can help people be proactive too.
But you have to prove that you have some wolf activity in order to get that.
Sure, which this map kind of helps. But yeah, you guys would absolutely qualify.
So you wouldn't have to prove that wolves were within X distance for sure proven of your livestock in
No.
order to get the.
No, if you want to be proactive, in the county, again, I haven't gone through the process of actually applying because it's not my position in this, but I know other counties that don't have any wolf depredations have applied and been successful.
Interesting.
And again, there's more, the other thing too, it may not be mentioned in there is well, I think you brought it up, there is more money available now than there used to be in this program, so.
Was the money that that passed in the last legislative session, was that through ODA as well? Because it also came with some funding of some wolf conservation, the basic conservation groups.
Yeah, there was more funding for this compensation program that passed, but as I understand.
So I'm a little confused. So if someone loses livestock believed to be wolf, is there an investigation? Is there someone from?
Yeah, they have to call basically me
They call you,
at this
okay.
point, and we're also federally listed in where we're at currently. So it has to be an ODFW employee, so
Okay.
myself.
And so you make a determination.
Yep,
And if it's a positive determination, then we would call our committee together, presuming it
yep,
exists.
you will have it documented, and you guys, again, it's a one-time-a-year application, so if something happens, say today, you wouldn't
Okay.
actually be able to apply for the funding and get it until March of 2027.
Okay. And do people usually have money in reserve to compensate livestock owners before that, or do they tell people?
Yeah, I
You're applying
honestly
for
couldn't
next
tell
money
you
next
because
year.
we haven't had account one set up long enough to know
Okay.
locally here, but I don't think so.
So if we do this, we would apply next year for it.
Yeah, around March of twenty
So we
twenty-seven.
have until March to find.
Yeah, so you have lots of time. I'm trying to get to you early.
You have until March to appoint one of these in committee. Represent the city.
Would these grant then help supplement the livestock ordinance?
I
Because
think this is separate.
what they do,
Yeah, this could be used for compensation or proactive like deterrence essentially.
but if someone in the county lost livestock, whether it's to the wolves or another reason, they could still apply for the county ordinance for compensation, right?
It's from a different source though, because
Yeah.
that's money that comes from our collecting fees for people's animal.
So it's
permits.
additional money for.
But it has to be proven to be a wolf,
Right.
because the other one really is for dogs.
It is.
And do we pay if it's coyotes? To the
Yeah.
other one?
I know we have.
Mountain lion,
We've paid that
Yeah.
before?
we have,
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
All right.
Confusing.
Well, thank you very much. Do you have have more questions?
No, but there was the story in the 1880s when there were Angora goats up in Post Canyon. Apparently the Angora goats chased away a mountain lion. So I mean, they could take care of themselves.
Gotten soft. Our goats
Our
have
goats have gotten soft.
Yeah, they've gotten soft.
That was the point I'm trying to make.
Chair Ewer, I would note that if the board wishes to direct staff to get this going, we need to add that to a work session action item.
Oh, I have seen it was on here.
Yes, it looked like we,
Ask the work session, it says direct staff to prepare a resolution. Maybe you haven't on copy of this.
maybe it's cut off on my copy.
It says the work
Okay,
session and visualize.
yeah, okay, perfect. All right, good.
Yeah, I'll respect. All right, thank you.
Thank you for your time. Okay.
So,
Good afternoon, commissioners. So Smitty Price is my neighbor, and she also belongs, she can describe the local quilting club,
Or
but
you're her neighbor.
I am her neighbor. And she came and saw my presentation to Rotary about the county and all we do, and she thought, I have this perfect quilt that needs a home. So Smitty, I will let you take it from there.
So in 2021, I'm a member of the Columbia River Gorge Quilters Guild. And as a subset of that is a group called Beyond the Block. So we are art quilters. And so we do a variety of different things and just enjoy making fun art. So in 2021, somebody had the idea, and we have seen this in other quilt shows, where they take a photograph and they cut it into an agreed amount of sections, and then they send home the different section with different quilters to interpret. Some of them have more rules. Our rule was, here's your section or your slice. We called it our slice quilt. And you can interpret this quilt however you want. There's no rules, just your interpretation. So the picture that, and everybody, they had, everybody that wanted to participate in this, their name went into a hat and they just drew names. So it wasn't a group of people that did like styles or whatever. And it was really interesting because I worked with people that it's not that I wouldn't normally work with, but we have completely different styles. And two of them lived in Goldendale and two of us lived in Hood River. And so we picked this mountain scene that one of the members had taken called Rural Mount Hood. And so that's why we named it that. And so that was back in 2021. And I've been thinking ever since the quilt show was over, and it sort of has been laying in my studio, kind of collecting dust. I'm going, this is too pretty for it not to be seen. And I've been trying to figure out where it would be appropriate to hang it, because it's fairly, it's 40 inches wide, that it wouldn't always, so then when Allison did her presentation and she was talking about some of the county buildings need prettying up. And I said, I have something that will pretty that some building up. So I would like to present this quilt, Rural Mount Hood, to you guys. And I can help you with hanging it when you get to that point. But anyway, where do you want me to aim it?
you can aim it at us.
It's fairly light.
You can aim it at us and then you can also come over and show it on the, oh, it will be
Yes.
steamed down there too.
So it is on a bar.
Okay, good for you.
So,
Wow.
so they are marked in the back of panel 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this one was done by Elizabeth Garber, who is a Hood River resident. This one was done by Debbie Rogers, who lives up in Goldendale. This one was my section. And then number 4 was Doris Nyholm, who also lives in Goldendale. So here are the 4.
That's really neat.
And they're all very, very, very different. The goal, the only, I think, coordination that we had was between me and Doris, because we needed to make sure that the mountain matched.
Good point.
other than that, it was kind of a different interpretation.
There's the
So-
documentation on the back of it that will stay with it, or?
Yes, I gave Allison a little blurb about it, that it should hang with the quilt so that people
Right.
that look at it know what
That's
it
my
is.
question.
But my also interpretation was that just as the four of us had collaborated on this piece, the county in all of its facets works as a collaborative unit to keep our county the wonderful place that we all live. So that was my connection of why this kind of belongs here somewhere.
Great.
If you turn around, you can see yourself, turn around to where you can
Yep.
show it to the people that
There
might
you
be
go.
watching. There you go. Yeah.
These are always backwards of how you think it's.
Yeah, the camera's actually up on that pillar over there. Just to
Oh,
your
the
right.
pillar over there. There you go.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. Hello.
How many hours did your section, your slides take you?
I don't.
Yeah, many.
Quilters don't count.
I try to keep track. And sometimes it kind of scares me as to how much time, but it's way more than you think.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the quilts that I do take 100 hours. You know, and it's basically 3 months.
Thank you.
So on behalf of Ms. Minnie, this is a donation for us, and if the commission is willing to accept it, we've got an action item later on the agenda.
You're an action item. You will take action.
I like that. I'm
Thank you so
gonna
much.
hack it back up.
Do we have a spot in mind that's not Allison's office?
I would only request that it not be in direct sunlight.
Good point.
Yes,
Because it will,
it might be good to walk her through and look at a couple of them.
that would be lovely.
So everybody
Courthouse.
thinks they're going up the stairs, maybe?
The up the stairs would be great.
Oh, I was thinking courthouse, but yeah.
Or the courthouse, we were a little bit, I think it would require a different training setup maybe in the courthouse. So that was our.
In the new courthouse.
Yeah. It's hanging up.
Wait that long.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for saying what I couldn't say.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the last thing on our work session agenda is a presentation from the Hood River Garbage Service
Yay.
about our franchise.
You just here like a couple of weeks ago.
No, I try to stay away, no
I
offense.
guess it was a full year, but still.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Tonight I'm here just to get the process started. A couple months ago, I was updating some files and I noticed that the current solid waste and recycle collection and service franchise agreement we have with the county and Hood River Garbage expires at the end of August 2026. So I just presented it to Allison and wanted to get it in front of you folks. So it's not a rush to deal with when the time comes. There's nothing on our end that is different from the First Amendment to the Second Amendment, other than the dates of activity. But if there are any questions, I would be glad to entertain those.
Any questions?
No,
I think we all know, we think we know. what
we've
we
been
do.
through this before.
Yeah.
Well, and Jim substantially works with Mike Matthews in our environmental health division, and I reached out to Mike in regards to the overall operation, and he was very complimentary. And including the recent work that Jim took, Winterbottom took on behalf of the region to get the whole new recycling provision put into place. And so.
Yeah, we plan to stay, so hopefully you feel the same way.
And is there anything big on the horizon now? And any major efforts that you're diving into now?
So right now is mattress take back.
No, okay.
If you buy a mattress, you
I
pay
just
a
paid
deposit
that.
on it.
I just did.
So we're hosting, every quarter, we host an event. Friday, June 5th is the one for Hood River Garbage. Hood River County residents can bring up to 5 pieces at no charge.
5 mattresses.
Yes. Commercial is 3, residential is 5, and I think I gave the flyers to Allison and Sophie. And it's in conjunction with the Mattress Recycle Council. So they provide the man and the truck and we provide the spot. And when we did it in Q1 of this year, we did 50+ mattresses here from River, so. 50 that didn't go to the landfill and end up somewhere up Post Canyon or another place, so.
Yeah. I spent a morning removing very old rusted springs up in Post Canyon. Finally got them all out of there, and underneath it were about 100 perfect glass ketchup bottles, all identical. So someone must have been dumping stuff up there.
Yeah. So that's about it. All right,
Okay.
thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. All right, and we will now pause and take a break until 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay.
Our work session item.
Listen, email on Tuesday.
I believe it's on the supplemental.
We have two items to add to the consent agenda. The first is accepting the resignation of Thomas Durham from the Fair Board, and so that we can go out and advertise to fill that open position. And the second one is a contract amendment from AdCom, who is helping with the implementation of our dispatch soft new system. And then the new business item would be Commissioner Babbitt's request for a discussion about the timber deposit interest fund policy.
I don't. Right, but the sheet is correct,
Okay,
because it's not just the timber interest policy, it's the reserve policy in general
okay,
and sustainability. Sustainability discussion in general, yep. But that's what the request form says.
And where do we have, is this online now, the sustainability resolution?
Yep, that's if you click there. Let's
Okay.
click.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Motion, I think, to add the consent agendas and these.
So moved.
emails.
I will second that.
Any discussion? Commissioner Munzer,
Yes.
Commissioner Weathers?
Yes.
Commissioner Babbitt?
Yes.
Commissioner Reddy?
Yeah.
Chair votes yes. Thank you. Are there any conflicts or potential conflicts of interest? Okay. We will start with our first order of business is the ordinance adoption process. This is the second reading of our ambulance service plan. And I will now open the public hearing and call for a staff report. Oh, and it's the ordinance repealing and replacing the second reading of the ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance 357 ambulance services. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Doug Kellett, Fire Chief, West Side Fire District. Yes, this is the second reading of this ordinance. As you're aware, it establishes the ambulance service areas within the county, defines methods for selecting the ambulance service area providers, directs the ASA Advisory Committee actions, and defines regulation and enforcement of the ambulance service plan. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions? I think we asked them maybe at the first reading.
I guess I would just ask, is there anything controversial here?
Not yet.
Okay.
With substantial changes will come back, but I can't see you right now.
Well, how long did it take you guys? You've been working, you worked on it
We
for
started in July of 24.
of 24.
Yes,
Okay,
so
and it was a long ordinance, so thank you.
it was, and we, went back and forth with Oregon Health Authority quite a few times during that process, and that also is time consuming.
And what are are there some changes that were made?
There were several changes that were made. It kind of, we edited the entire document and ordinance and plan. So there were new requirements from the Oregon Health Authority that they had put into place that we had to change our plan and meet their requirements. So really, we did an overhaul of the entire plan, everything from who's on the committee to franchises, the terms, how do you apply, how do we enforce, and also the quality improvement section was dramatically increased. so that we can do quality improvement on all the ASA providers in the county.
Are we yet to see the differences this might make? Because we haven't had the second reading yet.
I don't think you're going to see any substantial differences because it's still the same 3 ASA providers we have today.
Mhm.
So it does put a little bit more scrutiny on them for the quality assurance piece of it, but you will not see any changes as a citizen, no.
And one thing I would note, Chair Ewer, is that the new ordinance does restructure the committee. So we'll be back in June with a recommendation for that membership and ask the board to approve it so we can go out and advertise to refill the position so we can get the committee populated and starting to work. Yep. Very good. So that would happen at your June meeting, and then we would advertise and place committee members at the July meeting.
We could do 2-for-1s with wolf predation.
Right. If you want to be up all.
Yes, exactly. You sign up for one, you gotta be on the other.
Were you here for the wolf predation? We were talking about filling our. Because we'll have 6 positions. So we were wondering if.
If you're interested.
Yeah.
It's a good time not to scratch my head.
So no questions for staff. Is there any public comments on the ordinance? I will now close the public hearing and call for commissioners' deliberations. And you have a script if a person wants to make a motion and you're sitting to my right. Or I can hand it the other one.
I move to adopt the ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance 357 ambulance services.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right.
Chad, did you have a second?
Okay. Any discussion? Commissioner Moretti?
Yes.
Commissioner Babbitts?
Yes.
Commissioner Munzer?
Yes.
Commissioner Weathers?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Okay, the ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance 357 ambulance services is hereby adopted.
Y'all.
Thank
Thank you for your
you.
work.
Now you can start on the next version.
Will do.
Can start populating your committee
Yeah.
Thank you.
with wolves.
Right.
Okay, next item on our agenda is public comment. 3 minutes per person for items not on the agenda. I know we have one public comment in the room. Do we have any more?
No one online.
No, no one. All right, please come forward. Introduce yourself.
Hi, is there a microphone about it?
If it's really, it's going.
All right, hi, county chair and staff and council commissioners. My name is Nicole Bassett and I'm here to introduce myself because I'm running for the Oregon State Senate District 26. And I have been spending the last while introducing myself to the various cities and commissions, county commissions across the district. I was moved to Hood River about 15 years ago. I worked mostly in the apparel and outdoor industry. I started a company in Cascade Locks where we took textiles and avoided them from going to landfill and getting them back in use and getting them resold again. I've always worked at this interesting intersection between business and how it impacts people and the planet. And I have been very inspired to say that I think what we need in politics a little more is people who know how things work and how things work on the ground and how business works and how policy impacts people. And so I'm running and I wanted to introduce myself. A little bit about me. I'm also a hospice volunteer. I also fix bikes for Anson's Bike Buddies and get the bikes back out to kids in the community. I am very fortunate that my in-laws brought us here to Hood River, and so I get to live near them. And do all the outdoorsy things that one does here in Hood River. So just wanted to introduce myself. I know tomorrow's vote day, so lots will be determined then. And I would like the opportunity to follow up and learn a little bit more about what are the big issues. And that's one of the reasons I'm here today, is to just learn directly and see how I could serve as a senator in a better way. So, thank you.
Thank you. And next, we have the administrator's report.
Good evening, commissioners. For my report, this time of year always brings to the forefront our fireworks ordinance. So just here to remind everyone the county's ordinance and the timelines. So before June 15th, I, in consultation with our county forester, have the ability to ban fireworks dependent on the declaration from the state forester. After June 15th, it is the board's. The ordinance only addresses the discharge of fireworks. It does not address the sale of fireworks. And so the board always has the opportunity to bring that forward for consideration. So I always want to bring the ordinance forward at this time of year to ask the question. And I think what I heard last year is that it is working for us. The process is working well for us. So just wanted to remind everybody of that.
So the last 2 years, the threshold was triggered and fireworks were banned before June 15th, right?
Right.
So we actually, I think since this has been in place, have we ever not triggered it?
I
I'm trying to remember if it's been in place for 2 or 3 years.
Right. So
Yeah.
during my time here, it has
Yeah.
not been triggered.
Yeah.
We do have burn bans in place from the Fire Defense Board of the county. And so that is also helpful, and it was early this year. So I'm anticipating early changes from the state forester as well.
By when do we need to decide if we want to prohibit the sales of fireworks? Because folks are selling them much earlier than June 15th.
Right. So typically an ordinance takes 30 days to be put into effect. If we were doing an update to this ordinance with an emergency clause, it could become effective immediately. But obviously we don't have anything prepared for this evening, so it would be for future. Or in June could do the immediate impact.
I've always been in favor of fireworks during New Year's. When it's wet, and there's snow out, and we're celebrating a new year and not summer, because we know fireworks are the most dangerous for summer fires.
Right.
I don't know if there's any appetite.
I would suggest discussing it for the future, like basically after the season is over. Like the original ordinance that we put in place, we went through 3 or 4 meetings where we pushed it back and forth and debated it. We were very deliberative about the process, which kind of made it funny the next summer when all these people came in and demanded that we take emergency action because they just noticed that there was a need to do something.
Yeah.
And we were done it after several meetings. So I like the idea of having a careful deliberative discussion, not responding in the moment, unless there's a real reason to.
Yeah.
So,
The draft's not recent enough.
well, it's kind of the everyday condition now. I mean, it's the drought this year's, I don't know how much worse it is than last year, but we've been in drought for a while.
Yeah.
I would agree with Commissioner Babbitt's.
I changed my mind.
I probably have. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. There he is.
You agree with that too?
Did he change his mind after he heard I agreed with him? Yeah, I did.
So now you agree with.
But I do appreciate what I do appreciate and that the ordinance was crafted before I came on, but there is clear, there's a clear reasoning as opposed to people in the audience screaming and knee-jerk reaction. So I do appreciate that, and I think having a good conversation, setting something up so it's clear and definable, I think makes the most sense. I may share the idea of not really caring about fireworks because I haven't lived one often. Couldn't tell you when.
Are you talking about the existing potential ban we have, or are you talking about
I was referring to
So whether or not we should,
charities.
whether or not we should consider banning sales of it.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
All right, I just wanted to make sure.
It's interesting. I don't recall that being I don't recall that we actually discussed it. That wasn't an element of what we discussed last time we went through this, and I'm not sure why. Do you remember all these things?
There was, I recall some discussions relating
okay.
it because at the time sales were predominantly generated for nonprofit organizations and there was
Right.
some concern about impacting.
I know that the substance of it was something that Bob Benton and I batted back and forth for quite some time. And it was a pretty interesting deliberative process, and it was a shame that no one was there to testify or to contribute to it, but I think we pretty thoroughly considered all the corners of it, but not of the sales. I'm not saying that we've worked it through that. It'd be worthwhile to have that discussion. I'm just, I like the idea of doing it in a really careful
Yes.
sort of way.
I agree. I realize it's already May and it snuck up on us. And it's conflicting message when we say, don't burn fireworks, but you can buy them. And so
Yep.
for next year, I would definitely advocate no sale and please, churches, everyone, sell them during the winter. Great. It's much safer during New Year's Eve. Yeah, I recognize that the better process. to Wait for next.
Safer when people have alcohol for New Year's Eve, right?
They have alcohol all the time. You saw the DUI reports.
Oh, we're just connecting dots everywhere, aren't we? Yeah.
Okay, my next item. So at your last regular meeting, you had a presentation from the pear growers who asked for an emergency declaration related to losses last year. Our emergency manager, Katie Stickle, has been working with them, working to find the legal connection to the declaration. We have a couple of meetings this week because they've been working through a process to utilize the federal provisions that are described through the Farm Services Agency to look at provisions in there combined with drought, but we also have to have the data to say that we have reached that threshold for a drought declaration as well. So all that to say is we are still working on it. We recognize the concern around what is occurring with our pear growers, and so are trying to be responsive, but do it in a way that there will actually be the benefit for the growers themselves.
So drought declaration is done through Farm Services Administration, not through FEMA.
That we are working to see if there would be benefit under the auspices of a drought declaration. Yes, so separate. Yes, I see.
But as I understand it, you can also declare other kinds of emergencies. So you can have disasters and you can have a pest disaster, which is really kind of what happened last year. So it was somewhat weather related, not necessarily drought, but it could have been weather related. So it's a little tricky since it wasn't specific, it wasn't lack of irrigation on it. So basing everything on droughts, I don't know how that would work. I can tell you this, yes.
And that is the work that's going on. And we're trying to find the nexus to what we can do as a county and connect it to the right resource that we're trying to get to for the loss.
And so if we just declared a disaster, then for an emergency, then they would request the Secretary of Agriculture, correct, to declare disaster, which then triggers the USDA support for growers. That's how I understand it. So that's the simple stuff. So pests are an allowed reason to request a designation. So, and I think Katie knows that. Yeah.
And so, yes, we're just going through a couple of meetings this week to see if we can get there, and then we have to work with legal to craft the declaration. It may mean a special meeting for that purpose, and so we wanted to let you all know that we are continuing to work on it.
Thank you.
I'll be available for some meeting.
Okay. Also, at the last meeting, we had the memo that needed the concurrence of the board in regards to the comment on the Cascade renewable transition project. We did circulate that back to Eric Walker, who provided the clarification. The consent was provided, and so comment was provided by the May 15th deadline, but just wanted to state that publicly because there was some concern about the transparency of having that memo go through in the board concurrence. So we followed our process that we have been following.
And what I saw from that is they make a statement that they're really not bound by our rules, which we don't have a rule in place on this anyway, but we changed our floodplain ordinance to include this. They think they're not bound by that, but they would contest it at that time. Did I read that correctly?
Yeah, that was my understanding as well.
Okay.
Do you want? That was your understanding. Okay. Any further comment?
I think it's open to interpretation, but I'll defer to them and their legal counsel.
Okay, great. Okay,
It's for a situation that we don't even have in place, so it's not,
right.
there's not an active dispute here. The letter stated there's a potential for dispute in the future if certain things happen that probably aren't gonna happen. So I wouldn't want to spend a lot of time on that.
Right.
Yeah,
Perfect.
unless Lisa wants to.
The next item, follow-up item from the last meeting, there was a question around in regard to the county having a transportation system plan. Our Public Works Director investigated that transportation system plans are required for counties larger than 25,000 population. We're not quite there yet. However, the pieces that you have seen us doing, the bridge assessment plan, the safe routes to school plan, when we get to that point, those plans will all roll up into that. But basically we're not there yet. So
We're pretty close, so we're 23 and a half, right?
right. 24. And usually when you hit those triggers, there's a period of time for transition as well. Just a reminder that we'll be scheduling a special meeting to talk about Norcor. I think I looked to Commissioner Weathers, and I think we were looking after the budget process. I just wanted to reiterate for the Cybersecurity Review Committee. We had the meeting in December. We will have a meeting in June. There was an assessment that was done. And so our Technology Services Director wanted an opportunity to get that done, get that analysis back, and then be able to update the Cybersecurity Review Committee.
So I'm sorry, so we're scheduling that for June now, you think?
Yes.
Great.
And then we are planning out the next steps, obviously, as we're finishing our budget process. The Baker Tilly report is coming in. We've been circulating some dates for a retreat to put an action plan into place. We were thinking July 8th, but you are gone for a couple of weeks. Our commissioners available at the end of July. If we have other dates available, you're back on the 19th. Okay. Looking at a
And
day,
generally available?
and I realize it's harvest time, and
It's okay, we're fine.
1st August,
I'd cherry.
throw them out. No, it's
The first,
not those.
For harvest.
So that's throw them. Well, no, it's a Saturday, so it won't be Saturday. Maybe July.
Is it gonna
31st.
be, you have it on a Thursday first time?
it's on July 8th was a Wednesday. So we were looking for available dates for our facilitator as well.
So you're looking Wednesdays?
Looking at their available dates. So the day, if we're looking at new dates, the days may vary. So we can put out a poll once we have those days. I just wanted to see if we've got our commissioners in town over the end of July, beginning of August. Okay. So we will put out a poll for dates. All right. And those were all of the things I had for my report.
And the updated statistics? for
Yeah,
human
in my
resources.
packet, I had the updated statistics for open positions. That was for April. And so that we have been making available to you on a regular basis.
Okay, well, let's start with you, Commissioner Reddy, for Commissioner reports.
Yeah, thank you. I've been attending Center for Living meetings, housing authorities, health council meetings. We're all going through budget process and executive director reviews. Nothing really new to report with those meetings. I attended city council. I didn't bring my notes with me. To get the recap after they had the community meeting in Odell to hear from community members regarding their fears around ICE. And the feedback that I remember off the top of my head was just gratitude for making the connection with folks where they are in their community at Weiss Middle School. And that this was the first time that city council had come out there and made themselves available outside of their meetings, and city council said that they wanted to do more of that, just time to hear from the public and talk without the 3-minute timer. And just how much that was appreciated. Really just, again, the same fears that we've heard, that folks are afraid and using other community members to do grocery shopping for them or medications. Things have calmed down recently. So not, we haven't seen ICE activity lately. And, yeah, they're just planning to do more, the city's planning to do more listening sessions, and then if we can join them, I know we're all busy on that specific day. That's welcome. There was only 4 folks that testified to the larger group, but then after with mingling, there was one-on-one conversations. 2 of the 4 folks that testified were organizations from WAGAP who shared about the clients that they're serving. And then the other big discussion was just a lot of fear that I heard at the city council was fear around data centers around Oregon, and trying to make sure that the city makes the statement that they don't want data centers into the city of Missouri. Oh, and then a lot of discussion again around Uber and Lyft, and the reason why we haven't heard anything, you might have probably already this, Allison, is that Uber wasn't interested in the rates that the city provided, and so now they're trying to reach out to Lyft, another contract with a different provider so that we can offer those services in the county. And I guess the message was sent out to Uber that it's not just the city population, but you're looking at 24,000 folks that the county would then follow. It's not just 8,000 folks in the city. And just that Uber had ghosted them after the latest numbers were shared. So hopeful that they're getting in touch with someone, because I know that that's an interest that we shared also with transportation services after hours.
I've been asked questions about why is that stalled? And is it because the city offers rates that they can charge?
Yeah, there was.
Is that what the rate is? Is it's the rate they're told they can charge?
Yeah, and the percentage that Uber would get and the drivers would get, they were negotiating that. And after the last number that the city sent to Uber, radio silence, and they haven't responded. Uber hasn't responded
Why
to
would
the
that,
city.
why would that be something that the city would take on?
So the city has franchise agreements
Yeah.
with all of,
With
it could be with more than one
the town.
company, right?
Yeah,
It's not
more than one.
exclusive franchise. But they do set the rates. Under the franchise agreement, so.
Would they consider changing said franchise agreements? I mean,
That's what they did on a regular basis, but
Yeah, I guess it just depends what each county and area sets their own agreements and. The city wasn't happy with the agreements and offered a counter offer and then Uber didn't respond, so now they're looking at Lyft.
Are there any more besides those two?
Those are
they're
the only-
individual franchisees,
Yeah,
right? Some,
those are the only two apps I use.
Yeah.
but the non-app taxi service is basically just taxi
Yeah,
service.
yeah.
This is all covered under that, and there are several franchisees already. But
And we have been waiting for them to complete their negotiations because we had determined that we would sign an IGA with them to have them do that process of permitting them. Yeah.
You know, I've been asked by people that are concerned about the DUI part of it. And really, like, I asked you this a year ago, now what's going on? I'm like, we're waiting.
We're waiting for the city.
we have taxi services, right?
Yes.
People want to use an app. I get that, but there are taxi services and the apps have never been interested in us in the past. Just because they're just too small a market and there are legal costs to them to negotiate these things and it just, for years, they just had no interest in any community under, 500,000.
So if they were allowed to charge more, it would still be up to the consumer whether or not they wanted to pay that much, wouldn't it?
All of the rates would be the rates for all of the franchisees.
Okay, so it would be for every, okay.
I think that's the way the city sets it. I haven't.
So they're
been involved with this
offering
for a
them-
while.
The franchise rates that we already have.
Last I heard, I haven't been on this recently, so I don't know what's going on today.
I think if we wanted an update, it would be appropriate to ask and Abigail Elder could come provide an update if the board was interested.
The real answer.
Maybe if you hear that they've heard back from Lyft, then we could hear all at once. Yep. Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Budget meetings.
Budget meetings. Thank you.
I've been in budget meetings too. But for all the other organizations too. So Community Action Council, nothing big to report there, so I think I'll just pass over that on the bridge. Did have a lobbying visit back east. What we are viewing is, so the a month ago when I reported on this, exactly where things were, the Bridge Investment Program, the BIP program, which is the program through which it's the only program we have hope of getting the 520 some odd $million that we need to finish the funding package. There were 2 years worth of competition for that to use up the money that was appropriated by Congress 4 or 5 years ago. I forget exactly what year it was appropriated, but the funds they have now released, winners for the 2025 package, but they did a very small set. There were 3, I think, 3 bridges that they funded, and the total amount of money spent was relatively small, which means that there's still significant money left for the next round. And people are feeling like they were just trying to sort of fire up the wheels again, or that's probably a mixed metaphor, but they're trying to get the wheels spinning again, and that this might be a good indication that they're getting ready to fully run the process for the 2026 awards, which will be the last under this program. They've been asking some questions of various applicants. So there's some staffers working on this as far as we know. So we believe that this is our last best chance. And so pulling out the stops, as they say, for this. So we had a party of folks go back to DC, meet with the congressional staff, also meet with administration, meet with the Department of Transportation. So they had all of their meetings and the meetings were positive and they made sure that everyone understood what we were looking for, what our project is about, and that's about all they can do. And we're now working on getting a series of industry letters to support this. Because the industrial value of this is kind of a strong selling point that is necessary to kind of close the deal on us getting this money. And so they've been talking to the various industries around here and getting their support to tell the folks in DC why we need a bridge across the Columbia River. So we will probably know by the end of the summer what's happened here. And I've said before that there are other small sources of funding, but there's nothing that's going to be $500 million. So if we don't get this, then we're pretty much putting the project on ice for some amount of time. We have money to complete the design phase, and we have money to do the land acquisition part of it. But beyond that, we do not have any money to do construction. So we'd be putting a completed set of design on the shelf, waiting either for another Congress to come along and put a chunk of money out there, or for some other magical idea to come along.
Arthur, you mentioned plans. Commissioner Babbitt's plans are good for usually 5 years.
We've been told that the shelf life for plans is roughly 5 years, and the way it was explained to me is that engineering best practices change on every time something happens, like when the ship hit the bridge in Baltimore, that resulted in a whole bunch of changes which are already included in the design of our bridge. But other things will happen and general design standards will change. So 5 years is after less than 5 years, you'd be making small changes if you bring it back. More than 5 years, you're probably looking not at a full redesign. It's like 7 or 8 years, but a pretty significant redesign, significant funds. And of course, as you know, inflation will continue and materials costs will continue to inflate. It will be a different funding package we'd be looking for in 2030 than for today.
We'll all cross our fingers.
So across our fingers, we have a really strong case, but there are a lot of bridges that need to be built, and there's I think there's like 8 billion left, and we're asking for $500 million. So I actually have 6 billion left. I think 2 billion was spent in the first round. So there's another 6 billion we're asking for. Yeah. 4 billion, they're asking billion that. Now, the good news on that is that there are a lot of the other asks are for much bigger chunks of money. So if they wanted to get more individual bridges, this is for a program for bridges that cost over 500 million. I think is what you have to be to qualify for this program. And so we already have 500 million of it, and we need another 500 million. So we just nudge ourselves into being eligible for this program. A lot of the other projects involved are $4 billion, $8 billion projects. So it would wind up basically just being one of them that they could do, or they could do a couple like us. And I would encourage them to do that.
Good strategy.
So, yeah, like I said, it's fully on all the stops, doing everything we can. And hopefully by the end of the summer, we'll have good news. But if we have bad news, we know what to do too.
Anything
That's
else?
it.
Commissioner Weathers.
Not a lot. Budget season, same thing. We have the Norcor budget meeting this coming Thursday. I think I've said before, it's a challenge. So that hasn't changed. Likely be a change in the Wasco County representation, as Commissioner Heggie will likely step down after budget season. But Commissioner Gustafson, who has a lot of history with Norcor, as he worked there for quite a number of years, it is the next representative, and we've been in communication, so I feel confident that we'll work really well together as Commissioner Heggie and I did. So more to come. And no other business. Report on.
Commissioner Munzer?
Fair board, the new manager and groundskeeper are working out very well. Appears that they have a great fair plan for the year, and it should be another exciting one for everyone. So that's going well. Cascade Locks is saying that they're gonna go out for their 5% food and beverage tax in November, which does have a little bit of concern to me if Hood River County is thinking a similar thing. I don't know if at what point is there a discussion we should have about that, or if there's anything we could do to. I don't think we can really work together on something like that. I don't know. But I don't know what the effects of that will be to us if if it works for them. As far as Hood River County, so.
Be a litmus test for sure.
What's that?
It will be a litmus test for sure.
Yes. So anyways, I think that's probably gonna happen in November. They're gonna be doing a lot of talks about it in June again with local businesses and trying to decide exactly where they're headed with that. So that was Cascade Locks. I did attend the Weiss Fire Volunteer Appreciation Dinner. They gave out a lot of great awards for the firefighters, which I think is always really cool for those guys. And I did go to the Parkdale Fire Casino night and visited with a lot of people up there about the future of everything that's happening right now, including the budget a lot.
Is there an update on the Cascade Locks salon? Did they get money for the?
It sounds like they're, and I think, yeah, Allison probably knows.
I sat in on a meeting this afternoon. It sounds like, Charles Young, who's moved up to our regional representative of OEM, they have found some emergency funds that they are hopeful. It's through a combination of FEMA funding tied to our December emergency declaration. And so they are hopeful that that is going to be able to allow them to move forward with the project. The optimistic view was within 120 days, which sounded much better to them than 2 years to get the slide removed. But there is some worry about the hillside above, so they've got some investigation to do in regards to the potential of more slide to happen.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they did have to cancel their big event that they have in the fall. They've already canceled that, so it's a kind of an economic thing for them too, for the business. It's a loss.
Yep, I also went to the budget meetings. That's taken a lot of time, and some other meetings, including the R1 Act for ODOT. And I would say there's sort of much turmoil. There's kind of an internal process by which they're trying to rank the various projects, and they're not.
So did you say internal or interminable?
Interminable.
Oh, it is interminable, okay.
It's not. I mean, apparently there will be a terminus at some point.
Okay.
But yeah, there are a lot of projects to rank, and the question, and they're not for right now, they're like for starting in 2030, I think. But all the people from the counties involved, Clackamas, Washington County Metro, Multnomah, and Hood River. As you can imagine, there's a lot of really large projects in the metro area. And of course, the argument legitimately can be made that we all use those roads. And so we have some projects from Hood River. We're the only county that had sort of small projects to be added to it. So it's kind of up in the air what's going to happen and how they're going to get ranked. But at least they're in the hopper. So they're there to be ranked. However they get ranked, they'll still be present. So let's see.
And most of that just depends on what the fund looks like for that in the first place.
Yeah, and this is really planning for in a while. It's the next go round. But there's things like the Rose Quarter, there's big bridges in Portland. So the next thing we need to do is accept the consent agenda, including the supplemental agenda items. which are the Fair Board resignation and the contract for the computer aided dispatch funding. We have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the consent agenda. Any discussion?
Yeah, I, stated this earlier and I kind of want to state in this meeting instead of in the budget meeting. I'm not thrilled with the Baker Tilly presentation that they gave. I thought was terrible. I'm not thrilled with agreeing to pay them more money when they did a bait and switch on us in that the staff that is pictured in the paperwork that we have in this packet isn't the staff that's actually working on this project. So, I'm just not thrilled.
If I may comment on that, so we have their draft report, which I have reviewed, and there's some significant work there to be done. It can be typical when you are hiring a consulting firm that they lose people. People go to work for other places. And so they have put together a team and have assured us of a good outcome. And so that work is in progress. I would acknowledge that their presentation for the budget committee was not good. But that does not mean that the recommendations and the content for everything that we're trying to develop in terms of a future thinking plan is not valid. It is very valid. And I'm hoping for a good product there. The items that you see in regards to the amendment are for additional work related to interfund billing protocols, the fresh look at the vehicle fund. And frankly, these things are helping us cover staff time that is precious to us. And so we're trying to do these things quickly in order to augment our ability to serve. The last piece, again, is the facilitation of the retreat and update of our strategic plan. So I acknowledge and own the fact that that was not good. The goal is to where I'm seeing things head with the report, the recommendations, and the next steps will be very useful and valid for us. And we, on our own, with where we are as a county with our staffing levels, would have been hard pressed to put all of this information in together in the package that we will get. So
I have no doubt that you are doing great work in marshaling this into a useful plan for us. What I'm saying is that I think that given the lack of expertise in Oregon finance, they should be bending over backwards to make us happy now instead of wanting more money from us. So I would hope at a minimum that that you would push that in their face and say, you guys screwed up, you owe us, why do you want more money from us? So I would request that. That's me.
But if we pass the consent agenda, we're agreeing to that payment, aren't we?
We can pull that out.
Yeah. Would you like to pull that out?
Well, I would like to give some sort of direction to staff about it. I want to, I have no doubt that Allison can manage this. I simply would like to state a distaste for what's happened and ask her to make sure that's communicated to them and to use that if possible in a financial negotiation as this moves on.
Are you comfortable leaving it in the consent agenda?
Let me, I read this earlier today and I have to go back and it says the agreement, just approve an amendment and authorize you to sign the agreement. So it's basically committing us to pay more.
I think it's 39.
I forgot that was actually authorizing the signature of a contract.
Or you can vote against.
Well, I just, I
Pass
guess,
the consent agenda.
yeah, no, I could, yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do this. I'm just, if we gave you direction to go back to them and to communicate to them our, assuming that other people agree with me about my distaste for this, what would you do? What do you think you could do?
I would go back to them and have a discussion, and hope for, work to bring down the cost of this. And then,
So the fact that we pass the consent agenda doesn't bind you to doing that if
No,
you
that
can
would-
get a better price.
I think we would take it out.
You'd like to, now you'd like to take it out.
I think that's what Allison just said.
I think that's
Okay.
fine, yeah.
Okay, very good. Can we pull it at this point?
Yes.
Make a motion to, well, actually, we
Can
can
I
just pass
amend?
everything. Well,
We
we
made
just,
motion to amend. yeah.
Yes, council motion to amend. I think the consent agenda, the removal of item. Oh. Oh.
so we have second for the.
I'll second that.
Is there any more discussion? Okay, we will vote on accepting the consent agenda with the exception
No,
of,
no, we have to vote on the amendment.
oh, on
So we have
the,
an amendment, no further discussion, so we should vote on the amendment.
Yep. on the amendment. Yes or no on the amendment, Commissioner Manzo?
Yes.
Yes,
Commissioner Weathers?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Commissioner.
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
Then we vote on the.
So
As amended.
will, is there any discussion on the motion as amended? No discussion. Okay, then we'll vote on the consent of approving consent agenda. Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner Baptist?
yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Okay. Thank you. And now, the first work session is the donation of the Little Maverick Art Court. And staff recommends that you accept the Little Maverick Art Court.
Well,
Very beautiful.
Yeah,
We need a motion.
I don't think does a motion, but could be. I would make a motion to accept the donation of the rural Mount Hood bird quilt.
Thanks.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion about the donation of the art quilt?
we have to give them a really big thank you letter.
Yes,
Okay,
In fact, 4 different thank you letters.
there you go. All right. Anything else?
Thank you, Allison, for using anything.
thank you for being a neighbor.
I wait to hear where it's gonna be.
We suggested as you head out in the arch, and she went out and took a look at it and was thrilled with that idea. Her hubby will be creating an altered frame, but it will work.
All right. We will vote on the motion to accept the quilt. Commissioner Wiley,
Yes.
Commissioner Baptist.
Yes.
Commissioner Weathers.
Yes.
Commissioner Munzer.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. And finally, under the session items, we have the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife Wolf Predation Committee. And we are being asked to direct staff to prepare a resolution establishing a wolf predation committee. Which I think is a very good.
I think it's a good idea, but I mean, there is a lot on staff's plate. I mean, do you think this is gonna take much time or?
The way he described it, it's a matter of getting it set up, and it sounds like if we needed to have something in place so that we could be able to apply for the grants in March. It sounds reasonable. And there is a framework already in place in Wasco County, so we should be able to reference that.
And we have like until December to do this because we're trying to get in place before March, right? So we don't have to do it right this minute.
Now, I'm presuming that they'll give us a template from some other county.
Right,
We have one from Wasco.
we can get that, yes, yeah.
And each county needs their own. We couldn't join with Wasco County?
It sounds like it has to be specific.
Okay.
Did you verify that?
The border of Wasco and Hood River makes sense that we would join. Just recruit from,
Well, it did say something
counties.
about how you could have people from other counties on the committee.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, in the.
In the
details
Wasco
of it,
County?
Yeah. Well, in the template that he sent, or I think Sophie sent us, it said something about if you can't get all of your own people from your county, you could use
Oh,
other counties. Something to that nature. You could use other members from other
Well,
counties,
that's a
to
good
be honest.
question.
So I wonder
that might make it.
if we can't
Just
just
send
put
us
this
to the
together.
Oracle board.
we house the wolves. But then that way, because they were having recruitment issues also, maybe we could use one committee for both.
That's what I was thinking.
Definitely worth
It
listening.
seems pretty simple if, I mean, unless you actually have a. And even if you have a problem, I think it's a pretty cut and dry
Yeah, they would agree on the same topic.
application of how it goes.
All right, do we have a motion? Directing staff to prepare a resolution establishing a wolf predation committee.
We'll move on.
All right,
We can do this.
who's gonna concede the second?
Chad got the motion. I'll do the second.
All right, moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Commissioner Munzer,
Yes.
Commissioner Weathers,
Yes,
Commissioner Moretti,
Yes,
Commissioner Babbitt,
Yes,
chair votes yes. And now we have a livestock claim. And we are going to get a presentation from,
So, Sophie, are you prepared to speak to the livestock claim?
I wasn't necessarily, but I can answer the question.
So we have a presentation of a claim, and it has been documented by our animal control officer. And that had to be in place before the claim could be submitted. She took some time and the requester took her time to make sure that she wanted to do the request. And in the end, she decided she wanted to follow through with it. So the ordinance provides this mechanism for being able to reimburse them, and then we utilize our process through our animal control officer to try and get reimbursed for that through the dangerous dog.
so
Did I?
could I ask? What was the process to determine the $200 value? Was that her claim or was there supporting material for that?
That is her claim. Yeah, based on the value of the goats.
Because the last time we did one of these, there was some documentation that came along with it, talking about how these were, granted, these were especially valuable animals. I think there were goats last time also.
Yes.
And there was some documentation of how that price, how that value was determined. So
We could certainly have a motion to reimburse based on documentation of the value of the animals if we did not have that in the packet.
It's probably pretty close to market value.
yeah, it doesn't sound crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
what was your question? It was euthanized. They euthanized another goat.
they euthanized,
I missed that.
they spent 800 in cremation. Another goat was euthanized 2 days later.
Yeah, because I got the 8 cremation.
There were 5 goats, but only asking for 4 reimbursements.
And did we catch the dogs where the dogs were talking?
It captured and contained dogs.
And the owner was cited, I assume?
Yes, the owner received a fine and paid it immediately.
Okay, so we have documentation that she spent more than $200 per animal just in cremation and euthanizing the animals, right?
Well, I don't see a number besides,
Oh, you don't, okay.
well, she says the total
See, I didn't
request
get that.
is $800.
This must have been because you do it through I legislate.
Touch Fuente's claim.
Oh, I thought that was an extension of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I clicked
They
over
did it
there.
the First time.
No.
It said they spent $800 in cremation and another goat was euthanized 2 days later.
And I don't know how much it costs to euthanize, so unless we
We had
knew,
$800 in cremation.
Yeah.
we had $800 in, that's what they're asking for.
Right.
Oh, but actually, I think what she said was another goat was euthanized 2 days later, an older goat. And so I don't think she's asking for that one, just the 4. I don't know.
Only asking for 4 reimbursements.
Yeah,
Okay, I don't think we need to make this more complicated
No, I
than
think
that, so I'm happy with, somehow I didn't know that was a separate thing to click on, so thank you.
unless you know how much it costs to euthanize a goat.
I don't, but she says right here, she said we spent $800 in cremation alone.
Cremation.
And I believe that sounds
And we can
quite possible.
certainly have documentation provided, when the reimbursement occurs.
Very good.
I make a motion that we reimburse the $800 to Carrie Fuente.
Fuentes.
Oh, okay.
One second.
Moved and seconded. Is any more discussion? Commissioner Moretti?
Yeah.
Commissioner Babbitts?
Yes.
Commissioner Weathers?
Yes.
Commissioner Munzer?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. And the final thing on our agenda is the legislative agenda discussion
Should we, no,
that
we
we,
added to the agenda.
I'm sorry, I think that was the added thing. Excuse me.
Nope.
I'm sorry, that
But
was
we can
the,
talk about that too.
let's see, but this is under new business. So let's do the legislative agenda discussion and then finally we'll do the sustainability resolution. So the legislative agenda discussion is
Mayor Babbitt had requested to add this item to the agenda. And so, for your reference, I put in the materials that we had provided for the legislative session last year. And I know you are headed off to the AOC legislative retreat, and they're preparing their next 2 years of priorities for the legislative process. So I would put out there what we have. We certainly identified some needs with regard to the courthouse replacement. And so there are questions there in regards to advocacy specifically around the items for that, joint courthouses, 100% reimbursement. So I would just bring that one to your attention in addition to all of the other needs that we have across the county. And then additionally, for the Association of Oregon Counties, commissioners' voices really count. So our staff has been involved in advocating, but having a commissioner that is tied to each one of the committees would be wonderful as a point of reference for staff as well when there's testimony required. Last year, we had a number of times where testimony was asked for, and a number of you provided testimony. It was really helpful. So I put that out there. I know Commissioner Babbitt's had a larger discussion around it.
So that covers really a lot of it. The AOC legislative retreat and board retreat happened at the end of June, or it's actually almost the beginning of July. It's the last Sunday, Monday before July 4th. So I will be going down to Sisters for that, and I can communicate anything that we want communicated down there, or any of you are allowed to attend also. I don't think anyone else is here.
Everybody.
You are going, okay. So the two of us will be there already, so we've got good coverage there then. Now you want to talk to them, it's an expensive conference, and
Does it start on Sunday or Monday?
starts on Sunday usually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Sunday and Monday then. I could be wrong, I'm pretty sure. That's why I do want to talk to them about doing a cheaper version in the future, because I'm not super comfortable with how much money we're spending going down there. But that said, so anything that you have that you want us to bring down there, please do so. The one pagers that we have are kind of dated. The transit lodging tax
Yes.
has already kind of happened, so lobbying on behalf of that probably isn't necessary. And then so one thing I just jumped out at me was that it said that our timber revenues, it had a number which is clearly, it must have been the worst year ever. It said 2024, November County recorded $153,857 in timber revenue.
Oh, that is the timber revenues that were in lieu of the secure rural schools.
Oh,
So that, that probably needed to be stated
Because I thought I was just making an argument about how important, I thought this was about the stumpage fees or whatever.
Oh, no,
Um,
secure rural school.
Okay, so that's SRS discussion.
That's the
Mhm.
federal
Right.
forest revenue money.
Yes, yes. So there's a separate discussion, which I don't even know where it is anymore, about the various tax measures that were being put in place on, to fund the Oregon Department of Forestry, the fire protection
Mhm.
parts of that, which were being funded through sale of timber or through charges to timber lot owners. And I don't know where that is now. That was that big, Senator Steiner had a committee, and then that kind of fell apart and it came back, and I don't know where that is, so we guys got to update us
Was
on that.
that, like, that was when our rate, correct?
Yeah.
There was,
On fire.
there was a fix that was passed. I would need to check in on whether that was a permanent, thing.
Yeah, so it may be that this is already done, that this is something that's into the process and we don't have to do anything more, but I'd like to be ready on that if we do have to have more discussion. We are in a pretty unique situation, given the size of the timber harvest that our county does. But any other county forests are very tiny amounts of timber compared to us.
Right.
Something that I would appreciate if you follow up with, Commissioner Philtran was working on this, but again, when folks are incarcerated, their Medicaid is no longer active and
Right.
counties have to pay out all of their medical and prescriptions.
And this is federal law, right?
State Medicaid.
But I thought this was because, I thought this would be consistent with that our Medicare waiver still makes us responsible because this is federal policy.
funding.
So we should check on that.
Yeah, we should check on that because then Oregon in addition also provides additional funding for.
Oregon's
More of a-
Medicaid.
Yeah, it's more expansive.
So Oregon operates this Medicaid under a waiver,
Um,
right? You're supposed to know
Yeah,
about
yes.
this. Yeah.
Yes, under a
I don't
waiver,
think we're-
but because we receive some federal funds and that's why. we have to-
We should find out.
Yeah.
No, this is a great point. I just, I absolutely agree with you that this is, it's a enormous perverse incentive, right?
Yeah,
The fact that, when you take over people's, healthcare costs, when they are much of it doesn't make sense.
whether they're from here.
Yeah.
That would be something that would benefit all counties.
Absolutely. But I think that would be something from NACO, the National Association.
And then June 12th, the AOC has their final meetings where they're preparing their proposed legislative agenda. So all of the committee meetings on that Friday and Monday around that weekend would be important to have attendance at. So
Yeah, so you sent us, was it in this packet or did you email, I can't remember if you emailed it to me personally or if you sent us a copy of the list of things that, the legislative summary that they have provided. Which the list of meetings that they had and what things were actively being talked about. Did you send it to everybody?
it's been some time. I think I sent it to all of the board members.
So it's worthwhile going through that and seeing
The AOC.
the AOC list, which talks about what things have been discussed at which meetings. Am I imagining, I mean, you saw, you know, what I'm talking about.
Yes, I.
You remember.
Sure, yeah.
We can verify and resend.
It might be worth getting to the top, with the budget going on. I think we've had a lot of emails coming through. But thank you, Sherry. There've been a lot of emails.
No matter what I click on, it turns out to be a budget email.
But before we go to sisters, we should have some clarity on what of those issues are especially interesting locally. Big one for me last time was the transient lodging stuff to make sure that they didn't break things for us, and it didn't.
Anything else on the legislative agenda? And with that, then we will discuss the,
I'm sorry, it would be, have you, Alice, have you done a request to staff of whether any of the department heads have anything they want to add to our home request?
I will certainly do that. Yes, we will send these around to circulate and get updated needs from the department directors. Yep.
Thanks. Sorry.
anything?
No.
Okay. Okay,
Little Peter Falk there.
so timber deposit interest fund policy discussion. So, I will. Commissioner Babbitts has requested an introductory discussion regarding fiscal sustainability and the timber deposit interest fund and proposed discussing a policy that includes an updated reserve policy to supersede resolution 2223, which includes levels of reserve, conditions for allowing exceptions, and to define how funds are transferred, acknowledge the fund is not a consistent, sustainable source of revenue suitable for general annual expenditure, and set the fund purpose to support the significant capital outlays of a scale not reasonably met by the annual budgeting process.
I see where the confusion happened here because it looks like I dropped some words. The first bullet item,
So tell us the third bullet.
yeah, yes, let me just explain this, the sentence structure here is horrible. I apologize. So the first thing is we need a policy stating reserve levels and the conditions that allow for exceptions to those reserve levels, right? So good times, bad times, how far are we allowed to wander off of that center number? Great. Then I want the three dots relate to the timber interest fund. Right, so those are not the general reserve policy, those are specific to the timber fund. I don't know how I dropped those words.
So what you meant here was updated reserve policy, which includes levels of reserve, and that isn't the levels of reserve in the timber deposit interest fund, or it is? Are you wanting?
Yeah, so yeah,
do you want to include? Do you want to set a level of reserve required in the timber deposit interest fund? Is that one of your goals?
I'm sorry, so I'm just comparing this to my email, and it's not the same. The one sentence got cut and pasted and a clause got dropped from it. So my email states is, I want the discussion that should include updated reserve policies to supersede resolution 2223, include levels of reserve, conditions for allowing exceptions. Then there's a second bullet, which is timber interest fund policy. Example, restate policy for how money can be moved in and out of the fund, acknowledge the fund is not a consistent, sustainable source of revenue suitable for general annual expenditures, and set the fund purpose to support significant capital outlays. This is an example that I'm giving. I'm not saying it has to be the answer, but to support significant capital outlays of a scale not reasonably met by annual budgeting process, especially but not limited to expenditures, capital or otherwise, which are one-time expenses of establishing long-term sustainability. Examples: acquiring timberland, one-time costs associated with major reorganization. So I guess that wasn't particularly literary, so you guys cleaned it up, and in doing so, the structure just got confused about what of this related to the timber reserve, what was general.
So the general is the.
Just the first sentence is a general thing. What is the level of reserve and what exceptions are allowed to that level? Then the rest is discussion of the timber interest reserve or timber interest deposit fund. Timber interest fund.
All right.
So what I think is useful is I don't want us to come to an answer. We haven't asked staff to go and research it and come up with some nice language and tell us what the pluses and minuses might be. But it seems like in the budget discussion, we are from the discussion we had, I feel like people are leaning towards agreeing with me that the mechanism of the timber interest fund is too valuable a thing to allow that fund to be eaten up for to make our job easier for another year as opposed to solve a real problem. So if that's the case, we can ask staff to develop policy along those lines. If it's not the case, then, then I think we'll see something different come out on Thursday when we have our budget discussion, but I don't know. I kind of got the feeling that from that meeting that I had pretty reasonable support for the concept of reserving this special tool for important uses
And are you,
outside of this.
so if we did develop this policy, we probably wouldn't adopt it until at least next month. So how does this work? How does this relate to the current budget?
Well, the current budget, we can apply a policy without adopting it. We can say, we don't want you to use the
And-
timber
and-
interest
and how
fund,
would we
which we
apply?
already kind of said, right? That's the numbers that Sherry is currently working with Clayton don't use that fund.
So the way that we would use this policy now would be to take the timber deposit interest fund contribution out of the budget.
We, in the motion that was made at the end of the last meeting, I think Ed, Commissioner Ed.
Mr.
Ed made this motion, and my recollection is that it was to not use to undo the $475,000 transfer, and then to do effectively to do the things on the list to get to the 1-year glide path.
So this is a continuation of what we were discussing at the budget meeting.
I think this is more long-term though. So we really need to, in my opinion, refine how we use the fund, what its purposes are. So it's not oh, there's some over here that we can make it work this year and
Unsustainably.
unsustainably. Thank you. So,
And I think,
yeah, go ahead.
I think Allison expressed some support for the concept of having a capital fund available, right? That would not be a bad thing for this county to have an
Absolutely.
acknowledged capital fund.
Absolutely, yes.
And again, I think I voiced it, but a number of years back, I thought we had talked about potentially using this fund as a capital fund because, and I don't think you remember that, but that's how I envisioned that we intended that use, and we've just never gone back to put the sidebars up. So maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part because that's how I think it should be used. I don't know, but
I had a single discussion with Jeff Hexel about this, and he said, boy, it sure would have been nice if before we spent all of this money, we could have used this to acquire the property that Green Diamond acquired. Right?
Yeah.
That would have left the county would be in a much better position if instead of waiting several years and chewing up that money before going for the levy and then not having that money available, if we had that money available and not chewed it up and been able to acquire that land, that would have been a good thing. So that doesn't mean that it was that he thought the policy was for timberland. That means that was the example that he gave to me, and that is a capital acquisition.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And just
You
put
had a
it,
broader discussion where you just used the term that it was intended for capital uses, so but apparently never documented in any way that we have been able to find.
And you added in here too, also cost of a major reorganization.
I was giving examples, and the two examples I gave that come off the top of my head is that I could see we could buy timberland, and that timberland could, basically buying more seed corn and planting more corn and harvesting it later. So that's really something that would improve sustainability of our county budget. Similarly, if we have a reorganization plan and there are costs to associate with it, every reorganization I've ever been involved with has had some big bottom line costs. And having,
The upfront
costs, yes. And so having funds available to do that, again, that's a one-time thing, which makes a more efficient, more effective county. Another example of a way that you would spend a fund, and I gave that example because that's not actually I don't think that would be considered a capital expenditure. I guess it depends on what you're using it for, but if you're using it to, to pay retirement costs or whatever, things like that are not capital, but still are one-time costs that you can, a fund that's not a sustainable fund like this is still would be a very valuable thing for the county to place on
I
better
think
footing.
the variability, the nature of it, this fund being variable is a good reason not to have it as something that continues to fund ongoing operations.
I would suggest that if we wanted it to fund ongoing operations, then I would say that the interest should be deposited into the averaging account. Back
Yep.
into the account that it was kicked out of, right? And that we should redo that formula to make that money available for that purpose.
If we were to choose to do
If we
that.
were to choose,
Yeah.
I personally am currently interested in it as a capital or sustainability fund.
Yep.
But if someone's got better numbers, is gonna work up a explanation to me for why we should just plow it back in. We shouldn't spend it directly. We should spend it after it's been averaged over 10 years.
Makes sense.
That's the only way to make it sustainable. But obviously they didn't plan that. They didn't want that because they specifically said, take that money out of that fund, put it elsewhere. But
I
we
think
can
also
change our mind.
because in the admin code, it's segregated that fund and put it under budget and finance. It didn't spell out the why, but one
Right.
would assume it's over there for other uses. Yeah.
Right, so we have the mechanism, we don't have the explanation, which is unfortunate. Did you find out if the administrative code, if that's done by resolution or by ordinance?
I have not had a chance to ask that question.
Okay.
So I assume it's by resolution, administrative code.
That's what I thought, but okay.
Yeah, I agree, capital or sustainability or investment.
Something to improve
Yeah.
long-term
Yeah,
sustainability.
to
Yeah.
improve.
It's a future investment fund.
Yeah, and hopefully, staff can come up with a better description that covers possible uses if it's beyond just saying it's for large capital. If you're gonna say it's large capital, you can say, things that cost more than whatever, and I guess that's a pretty simple way to do it, but we might want to leave a little more flexibility because, it is
The land acquisition or something.
yeah, I mean, in recent years, it's been generating $500,000 a year, so it can get to a pretty sizable amount. We have needs for things like this, and then to be able to solve some future problem without having to go to the voters on it, I think the voters would be very happy to see that. So there's some real value to it. I just don't know the full scope of what things we want to include in that language. And maybe that's why there is no language, because it was too hard for them to come up with the words to say it. But I bet with a little creativity, we could do that.
Do you want to make a motion that we direct staff to write that, or do you want to come back to this at a different time after the budget?
It depends on if
Process.
we're in agreement, then I would say, why don't we direct staff to get to work on it? And we get to deliberate again when it comes back in a resolution form.
Are you, it sounds like
I'm in agreement.
you're in agreement, are you, and you're in agreement, Commissioner Manzardi.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
It's definitely something we should discuss, and if it comes back, we can discuss it, yeah.
So I would make a motion that we request staff prepare a resolution concerning reserve policy and the policies by which policies around the timber interest fund.
I would second the motion.
Any more discussion?
Just that this isn't something that we're not looking for this to be back next month. That
Okay.
should be obvious.
Next month, so, okay.
I don't know when in your. This is a good thing to work on at a time. But things might lull, like they when we're not discussing sell fireworks. No. That is it, yeah, this is so big if people just to a fire at a time.
Any more discussion? Commissioner Babbitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Moretti,
Yes.
Commissioner Weathers,
Yes,
Commissioner Moses.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Is there any more business that I've missed or been known to miss? All right, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
that's, that'd be a record for us.
And they're all, they'll have to sign this.